Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamlined Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. This is our second video in a series where we're talking about exporting your data from Clio. And there's a lot of great reasons to export your data from Clio. As we talked about in our first video, we talked about how Clio can store a lot of data, and it does store a lot of data. And so sometimes, though they don't have the reporting that we want, there's a lot of great integrations for that. But sometimes it might be as easy as just exporting that data and manipulating it the way that we see fit or that we want to do that. And so I want to show you some of the ways that we can do that. Of course, in our first video, we talked about a particular export screen that we can use to get some exports out of Clio. But what I want to talk about tonight is the export button. And the export button, thankfully, is located in a lot of different places in Clio. So we're going to take a look at some of those as well as the results that you're going to get from that export button. So I'm going to head on over to our Clio screen here. And if we come over here, one of the most common places that I like to export data from is when I click on Matters over here in the left-hand menu. And we see the list of Clio matters that I have in my account. And when we do that, you'll see at the very bottom, there's an export button. And you'll find this in a lot of places. We'll look at a few in just a minute. But when I export and click that export button to export these matters, keep in mind, it's going to export either all of my matters, if that's the tab I've chosen up top, or the default just open matters, or pending, or closed. For tonight's purposes, we'll go ahead and just do all of them, right? So I've got about 872 matters in here. I'm going to export all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the export button. And when I do that, I have the choice of either exporting a PDF or a CSV. Now, if I do a PDF, please keep in mind, if I click export here, that when we open up that PDF, it is going to have a limited amount of information, right? I don't have a lot of opportunities to manipulate that data in the PDF file, right? So you'll see we have the matter, the client, the matter stage, the practice area, the open date, the close date, and the pending date. But we don't have things like the responsible attorney and things like that from the PDF. And so again, while it may serve some purposes and be able to get it out quickly and look nice, that's great, but it may not give us everything that we want or that we need. And so in that case, I would recommend coming back to our matter screen, clicking export, and then selecting a CSV. Now we have a little more flexibility here because with a CSV file, I can either export all of the columns that Clio has, all of the data that Clio has on my matter, or I can go ahead and just export the visible columns on the screen. So if I wanted to manipulate my screen ahead of time, and we've looked at how we can change the columns on the screen, I can do that and then just export those. But for tonight, I want to show you what it looks like when we export all of the columns into a CSV, sorry. When we go ahead and click that button, it will give us this message that our export is available. A lot of times it will also email you, right? So if you click on this, it will go ahead and download that CSV file. And then I'm going to flip my screen over here so we can take a look at what that CSV file looks like. Now, don't be overwhelmed. It's a lot of data, right? Now, you might see that if you look at these two columns here, I've highlighted D and E. These are my matters, right? They're the numbers and the description, and so I can go down and see all my different matters. I have one matter per line, okay? And then if I scroll back up at the top here, if you look along the top row that has all these headings on it, it has all the default fields in Clio first, but as I keep scrolling here, I get to my custom fields. Starting about at AA, these are all of the custom fields that I have in Clio. And then of course, scrolling down with all of the data from all of the different cases that I have in there. And so this can be a really great way to create whatever custom report that you want in order to just highlight the data that you want and be able to manipulate your cases by either those default fields over here or those custom fields off to the right. And so while it can be an overwhelming amount of data, it also gives you the capability to really hone in on the things that you want to know about and that you want to focus on from your Clio data. And so let's head right back over here to our Clio account. And we'll take a look at some of the other places where you can find that export button. So of course, we've looked at the matters, but we also have the same capability under contacts, right? There's an export button right here. It works the same way. You get the same options. And when you export that, you will also get a spreadsheet with not only the default fields for contacts, but any contact custom fields that you may have created along the way. And so that's a great place to search for contact data as well. And then if we come down here, you can also see an export button on the activities, right? So again, just a great way to be able to get the manipulation of the data that you want. You can export from activities. We can also export from our bill screen. That's here at the bottom. And then we can also export our online payments. Again, we can export that list at the bottom with the export button. And then, oh, that one might be behind my picture on the video, but it's at the very bottom towards the left. We can also export if we come into one of our accounts and we want to export those transactions into the account. That's a possibility as well with an export button on the bottom towards the left. And then the last one we'll look at here, communications. We can also export our communications, which again can be a real help depending on the situation if we need to disclose those to anyone in discovery, or if we need to give any information to our clients. That can be another great way to share that information with them as well. So again, a lot of great opportunity within Clio in that export button to get that data out of Clio and then have some flexibility of how you want to manipulate it. So I hope this was helpful. If you liked this, please check out Streamlined Legal Plus. We are pouring a ton of content into that and would love to share that with you. We do have a monthly special running till the end of the month, so check that out. And let me know if these exports are helpful for you. I'd love to get some feedback on that. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Have a great evening.